gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's June the 5th, 2023. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined this morning by a weary Azubi Charles and an even more weary Stephen Wagner as we discuss the news of the day. And I'm going to apologize to everybody up front. And I'm guilty since I'm the boss. These guys worked 17 hours yesterday each, maybe even 18. I don't know. I stopped counting. And now I'm making them wake up at 5 o'clock this morning to do this show. Guys, I apologize to you. I apologize to the viewers. You're going to probably see some yawns during the course of the show. Don't hold it against us. But there was just way too much to talk about this morning for us to not film a show. So here we are. And Azubi really looks like he's about to fall back asleep. So I'm going to start with him. Okay, because he was at Marklight Stadium all day yesterday for the baseball doubleheader. Miami wins the first game, but then falls in the second game to Texas for the second time of the weekend. And the Hurricane season is over prematurely once again. And you know what that means. People are going to start calling for Coach Gino DeMari's head. There is going to be just a lot of disappointment over another baseball season ending without Miami going deep into the NCAA tournament. Azubi, you were there. You got to see the emotions. You got to talk to the coaches and the players. Talk to us a little bit about what you feel you saw and how hard this really hit this program.
Yeah, to kind of sum it up, really, just a big overview. Just seeing, Yo-Yo Morales in the press conference kind of tearing up, seeing his final game at Marklight Field and just all the emotions of the tournament. It's been kind of a roller coaster. Obviously, I feel like just yesterday we were, starting the season talking about the Marklight Magic and the milkshakes, and now it's kind of over just like that. And Gino just says it, when the season ends, it comes fast, it comes hard, it comes abrupt. No one really expects it. And the way it ended too, obviously, 3 games in less than 24 hours, a doubleheader Sunday, do or die, 2 elimination games, all that stuff. And then kind of the way Gino put it, it's simply, hey, we just didn't have enough arms to get us through. Obviously, throughout the season, we struggled with that. And having 4 games in 3 days, it was going to be tough, regardless if we won this game and what would have happened next game. They're kind of done with their bullpen. And that's kind of the thing he really focused on in the press conference. He said, hey, throughout the season, we've only really had one legit starter being Gage Zeal. And we've just been throwing guys in the mix, here and there wherever we can. Honestly, when I kind of heard that, I thought it was kind of odd to hear a coach kind of just completely throw his bullpen under fire.
Correct. That's what I was just thinking.
He was kind of just like, I feel like every other sentence he was like the bullpen. But it's like, the bullpen's not the only part of the team. I feel like that's kind of unfair for the Hurricanes pitchers. But just to sum it all up, kind of sad seeing, Miami go out like that. I know someone on the message board said, a World Series appearance used to be the standard for Miami. Now we can't make it out the regionals 2 years in a row in our house and call for Gino's head. So honestly, I'm not sure in which direction the program goes right now. Obviously, pitching is a very, very big need for that program that they need to address this offseason, whether it's with Coach Gino, whether it's without Coach Gino. So we just have to figure it out. He says he's going to talk to the team Tuesday to figure where things go for him, but kind of a sad way to see the Hurricanes go out for the second year in a row on their home field.
Yeah, you hate to see the coach blaming his players. He, if your bullpen's not good enough, well, you recruited the bullpen. It's like you can't throw those kids under the bus like that. They're out there doing the best they can. It's a baseball game. Some days you're going to have it, some days you're not. Obviously, they were playing under a lot of pressure on Sunday, and they gave up a 9-run inning, Azubi. Talk a little bit about that, like just what you were thinking, and as you watched them give up all those runs against Texas, really 2 games in a row. But this one really bites, obviously, because it's the last game of the season.
Yeah, it really reminded me of the ACC championship versus Clemson when they're up 5-3, and then they give I believe it was a 6 or 7 run inning. They end up losing that game. Same kind of thing. Pitchers are doing their thing. Gallo came into the game. He sat his first 7 batters. Went 2 straight innings, just 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, and then the third inning comes. He gets the first guy out, and then I believe it was Texas second baseman. It was a 2-1 or something. He gets a strike, umpire calls it a ball, and then from there it just went downhill. And then Texas just came alive at the plate, just hit after hit after hit. They capped it off with a grand slam, and I believe after Gallo gave up 3, DeMar took him out, brought in another pitcher. He gave up another 6, and it was just like at that point, the crowd lost the energy, the players lost the energy. It was just downhill from there. And he said it, the pitching kind of let him down, but I feel like still as a head coach, you can't literally say that my pitching is the reason why we do not have success that we thought we'd have this season. But that third inning was just Texas coming alive at the plate after a slow start. And even their head coach said it, just, hey, that third inning really set the tone for the rest of the game, and Miami just could never overcome it.
Yeah, this one's going to be interesting because Dan Radakovich has been the athletic director for a couple years now, and he's watched the same ending his only 2 years at Miami. I don't know if it's his style to shake things up to that degree and replace the coach, but I wouldn't dismiss it either. I mean, the baseball program is kind of stagnant right now. They have their ups and downs all through the season, really. And then, these disappointments postseason after postseason are going to, whittle away with the fans a little bit, So we're not going to go on and on about it. Disappointing. They lost. They will not be playing next weekend. But it is going to be interesting to see if there is consideration of change in the baseball program. All right, I talked about how crazy yesterday was, and it really, really was. Imagine this. You have 6 official visitors that we were trying to cover and get a hold of and talk to about their official visits. And then simultaneously, you had a few hundred kids out at the U for the first Mario Cristobal football camp. And so the CaneSport team was really in overdrive the whole day, trying to chase all this stuff down, find good stories for you guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed what you've seen so far. There will be more coming, and you feel that it was a job well done. Stephen, long day out there at the U. Talk a little bit about your impressions of day one of Mario Cristobal football camp this month. There will be several more. And what you thought about the quality of talent that you saw out there.
Yeah. So for the most part, because there were literally hundreds of kids at this camp, most of the guys that were there really were just, kind of run of the middle guys who were really hoping to get some more exposure. But there were a few pretty big names out there. Waden Charles, a 4-star out of Boynton Beach. He was one of the bigger names in attendance. Beckham Kritza, the 4-star quarterback out of Miami Central, was also in attendance, and a few other guys as well. So Miami did end up bringing some pretty decently large names out to campus for this weekend. And kind of what I saw was, Miami really took advantage of this opportunity with these guys who have kind of been marked as, early recruits to watch in their class. They took advantage of this as they took this as an opportunity to watch these kids basically work out live in front of them, to be able to see these guys run through these drills, to be able to get, 40 times and shuttle times on all of these guys. Stuff that you really think probably isn't worth that much whenever you just see it in, a 1 or a 2 hour period. But, you forget, because Miami's coaching staff is going to spend so much time around its own players, watching and coaching and developing its own players. They don't get a ton of time to watch these kids actually go play and work out live right in front of them. It's also the opportunity for, coaches to give some of these guys, like a little bit of instruction or, like some pointers, like here and there, whenever they're interacting with each other in a voluntary camp setting. So overall, kind of the thoughts that I had were, Miami definitely wanted to use this kind of as a way to keep interacting with a lot of these kids who they are kind of starting to mark as some targets that they want to keep an eye on in these 2025 and 2026 classes. They did have a few 2024 guys here and there. It wouldn't really say any, massive major names that are really going to, jump off the radar whenever you're thinking of the 2024 class. Because at this point, it really does seem like, as far as 2024 kids go, if Miami is really, really looking at you, you've already got that offer. You're already in communication with the staff. You're already talking about official visits. You're already looking at all of that different type of stuff. But certainly this weekend was used to definitely take a good look at 2025 and 26.
Man, that quarterback from Central, he is skinny, but he's got a nice arm. It'll be interesting to see how seriously he gets recruited. Miami's in a decent spot right now at the quarterback position. They got Judd committed here in this class. You got Chakuri and Emery backing up Tyler. We don't know if Tyler is going to go pro after this year. It's going to be largely dependent on how he does this year. But it's nice to see that they are looking forward and looking at some of these younger quarterbacks and getting a chance to work them out on campus. So we will have continued coverage of the Mario Cristobal football camp as the week goes forward. Let's talk a little bit about the visitors, Stephen. We were able to talk to, I guess, 5 of the 6, and they all seem to say the same basic thing. They all had an amazing time. And just to give you guys an idea of the intensity of this weekend. So they have dinner at Mario's house on Saturday night. And remember, these recruiting weekend days, they start at like 8 a.m. I mean, it's a pretty full schedule for these kids. So they have dinner at Mario's house. And I mean, I heard the party was still continuing as late as midnight on Saturday night. So pretty high octane visit weekend. Stephen, talk to us a little bit about these visits and how you think they went and who you think might ultimately end up in this 2024 recruiting class.
Yeah, so the 5 guys that we had a chance to talk with, 4 of them are 2024 high school recruits, and then one of them is the junior college cornerback Demetrius Freeney, who we're expecting him to make a decision sometime soon, probably in the next week or so. Wouldn't give a specific date, but all he said was it's probably coming sometime in the next week. But looking at the high school kids here for a second, the guys that we had a chance to talk to were Jeray Hawkins, James Nesta, Wyatt Gilmore, and excuse me, I'm totally blanking here.
Jeray Hawkins, did you mention him?
Jeray Hawkins, Wyatt Gilmore, James Nesta,
Draylon Miller,
and Draylon Miller. Yeah. Excuse me, really had a solid up there. But yeah, of those guys that we talked to, all of them are 4-star recruits, by the way. Except for, 3 of the 4 are 4-star recruits, by the way, except for Wyatt Gilmore. He's a 3-star recruit who's starting to get some very serious looks from Oklahoma and Oregon, in addition to Miami. Oklahoma is a school that's making a very aggressive and hard push for him. He was telling me the other week that, Oklahoma is a school that's, he was like, well, Miami texts me every day, but, Oklahoma, it seems like right now they're almost texting him like every second of every day. The amount of contact the Sooners are really trying to have with him. So that should kind of tell you a little bit about, kind of how he's being viewed right now, in addition to, Jason Taylor and the amount of effort that he's put into his recruitment. But anyway, going back to these guys as a whole, no one had anything bad to say about the visit weekend. But one thing that I'm kind of consistently finding or one thing that I kind of consistently found, I should say, with a lot of these recruits is, a lot of the really good positive feelings that these guys had seemed to be, kind of momentum that Miami generated from this weekend. And now, there's a pro and a con to getting the first visit on a kid's OV list. The pro obviously is, hey, you're the first impression that this kid is going to have of the official visits that he's going to take. You get first crack at him. You get first dibs. But then the con is, once this kid visits your program on June 2nd, odds are, if he's a 4-star or a 5-star guy, he's got 4 or 5 more official visits lined up throughout the month. And so you don't know if you're going to be able to carry over that positive momentum that you were able to generate and those good, warm, fuzzy feelings that you were able to get whenever this kid was down on campus. You don't know if you're going to be able to hold on to that for another month whenever this kid's taking official visits to Ohio State and Georgia and Tennessee and USC and all these big recruiting powerhouses. That is really, really difficult to maintain. And so I think Miami is going to kind of have their work cut out for them a little bit, especially with guys like Jure Hawkins. Whenever I've spoken to Jure, I've really gotten the impression from him that Penn State is, kind of going to be that team to beat. Florida's also definitely very much in the picture, but to me, it's really felt like Penn State's that team to watch for Jure Hawkins. And Penn State, he's going to go visit in a couple of weeks. So for Miami, can you hold on to that momentum for 2 weeks? Can you make yourself feel like the place that he wants to be for 2 weeks and then hold on to that after Penn State gets him up to Pennsylvania and tries to get him to make the exact same impression on him? I mean, that really is difficult. I'm also a little bit concerned about that with Wyatt Gilmore, just because Gilmore is I'm really looking for the word here, because he's such a delicate, or I shouldn't say delicate. He's such delicate. A smart and calculated
kid. The football player you're talking about, Steven. Don't call him delicate.
He's so smart.
He just called him delicate.
I'm never going to hear the end of that one, even though he's definitely
not delicate.
But
be delicate.
What I'm trying to say is he's so smart and so calculated in how he goes through his recruiting process, in the way that he really values the interactions with these kids. There's nothing that this kid doesn't do that isn't very, very carefully thought out. I guess diligent would be a much better word, because I am not calling a 6'4", 250-pound edge rusher being recruited by Jason Taylor delicate.
But you did. And you're only getting a pass because of the 17, 18-hour workday yesterday and the fact that it's now 5 a.m. That's the only reason we're going to let you get away with that. And we will never bring it up again, right, Azubi? We are not going to haunt him with that.
Never. I barely remember it already.
But Wyatt Gilmore is extremely diligent in his recruiting, and he doesn't have very many interactions where he's not very, very carefully observing everything that's going on. He said before that relationships with the coaches are what this recruitment is ultimately going to come down to. Right now, Oklahoma and Minnesota are the 2 schools that are pushing the hardest. Miami got him to campus. Obviously, he loved the visit, had a lot of good feelings about the visit, but he has 4 more official visits coming up throughout the rest of the month. So, there's definitely going to be Miami's definitely going to have their work cut out for them on that end too.
All right, a couple things to note. Number one, Miami's got a decent strategy for dealing with this. Obviously, you can't have every kid visit the last weekend of June. They're spacing them out over the month. But they are going to have a barbecue pool party again this year in late July. There's a week there where things open up again after the dead period. The coaches have had their vacations. They're back now. And that last week of July, they're going to have a pool party barbecue for as many of the elite recruits as they can get to come. And that's a chance to find out who's serious. Okay, you're giving them plenty of notice. Hey, we're going to have this big party. Come on down. The kids that show up are probably pretty serious about committing if they're not already committed. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But they do have a plan if they lose a little momentum here in the next several weeks to kind of recapture it with that pool party barbecue. The other thing is you talked about the pros and cons of visiting the first week. And that brings me to the topic of Jeremiah Smith. We had a story a couple days ago talking about how his recruitment seems to be trending towards opening up a little bit. Kind of a surprise since he did commit to Ohio State early. But there is no more important recruit on the board this year than Jeremiah Smith. This is Andre Johnson. This is potentially Michael Irvin. Go down the lineup through all the great receivers that have played at Miami. This guy has that type of raw ability and could be that type of player at whatever school he goes to. Now, he went to Florida for visit number one. And I was thinking about it a lot over the weekend. Like, is this a positive? Is it a negative? I mean, there's been so much noise. I mean, Jeremiah Smith, like many of these players, was in Nashville at On3 headquarters last week for a NIL event. And a lot of the buzz coming out of that was that the guys the national recruiting guys seem to think that there might be some traction with Florida with Jeremiah Smith. And I'm sitting there thinking, Florida, why do we go to Florida instead of Miami? Florida's going to probably win 4 or 5 games this year. Miami's the hometown school. He could own his city. Okay. I mean, he would be one of the biggest stars in South Florida sports. And I know the Heat is grappling with Denver for the NBA title, and the Panthers are in the Stanley Cup. Matthew Tkachuk, he's awesome, whatever. Let me tell you something. If this Jeremiah Smith comes to Miami and balls the way that I think he can ball, Azubi, this guy's going to be as big as anybody in this town. So why would he consider Florida? Why was he even in Florida this past weekend?
Yeah, I just feel like with Jeremiah, he's been saying this ever since he's been, getting heckled by Miami fans, getting heckled by Ohio State fans. He's just saying, hey, I'm a 5-star recruit. I'm going to enjoy this recruiting process. I'm going to go to every official visit I can. I'm going to take as many of these pictures, bring my family along. I saw his little brother was in uniforms, taking pictures in Florida too. So I feel like this is just Jeremiah enjoying the recruiting process and bringing his family along with him with everything you do. Because not many times in your life are you be able to, bring your family across the country, no expense to worry about. You're getting 5-star treatment. You're a 5-star player, all this and that. And even when he, like I said, when he talks about, hey, I'm just going to enjoy this process. We hear every, here now and then when guys commit, they start taking visits and things like that. So I feel like it is good seeing him, continue to explore his options and not shut down his recruitment with some guys do. And I feel like that can work in Miami's favor if he gets to see other schools and he sees something in Florida that, okay, I might not be a fan of this, or see something in Georgia, I kind of don't like this, or just things like that. And Miami can kind of pick at it because I think they have one of the later visits, I think June 23rd, and like Steven mentioned, kind of obviously now he's going to be able to compare what he likes, what he doesn't like from other schools, and kind of have Miami, have that final, hey, this is our last impression, this is our last push for you. But kind of going back to what you said, I feel like if Jeremiah commits to the University of Miami, that might be the biggest commitment, I would say, probably, I don't know if you can, correct me, probably 5, 10, maybe 15 years for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I don't know if people realize how good he is.
Yeah, with me, I think he's the best high school player I've ever seen play. Like, I would say second is like a Ruben Bain, where he's having, 50 sacks in 2 years. Jeremiah Smith is a grown man at the age of 6. I feel like he can go play college ball. If he went to Miami right now, I feel like he can be the number 1 wide receiver for the Hurricanes. And that isn't
an immediate starter, probably.
That's not just me just, fluffing him up. This kid has legit size, legit speed. He's a track runner. He's 6'4", 200 pounds. He still has a baby face, so I feel like he's going to grow. Like, I think Jeremiah Smith is obviously, I'm not from South Florida, but I feel like he'll go down as one of the best players to come out of South Florida and the best player that I've seen in my 3 years of covering high school football.
Yeah, and Mario will have something special cooking for him on that official visit. I mean, they're going to have a kind of like a Legends weekend. I think that's the weekend that all the greats are going to come in and participate in that weekend and stuff. And I feel pretty certain you're going to see Michael Irvin there, and you're going to probably see Andre Johnson there, and some of these great Miami receivers that have played who are going to pitch in and try to help out with Jeremiah Smith. He is just an absolutely elite talent. So we'll have fun continuing to watch his recruitment, but I just wanted to give everybody a little bit of an update on that. We have a few other recruiting things that are on the website of note. 4-star tight end KJ Duff. He'll be visiting Miami here soon, and the Canes are major contenders there. We've got an update on him. Make sure you check that out. 4-star edge Zena Umezaulu. He's really excited to be coming back to Miami, so we'll keep an eye on that one. We also have a few non-recruiting stories that are on the website. Our top 50 countdown. Won 50-1, ranking the Miami Hurricanes after spring practice. This weekend, we went from number 20, Andy Borregales, to number 19, Nigel E. Kelly, a kid that they're counting on very heavily to emerge in training camp and become a starter, quite frankly. I mean, Nigel E. Kelly's a kid that you guys hear me talk all the time about elite talent, a lack of elite talent. You got to have elite talent on your football team so that when you get in those games in the fall that can go either way, you're not just winning some and losing some, which is a pattern that Miami's been in for so long. Nigel E. Kelly is a kid that has the type of ability that can supersede that, and he can become an impact player. Right now, he's at number 19. Jafari Harvey is at number 18. But, it would be great for the Canes if that was kind of reversed in the fall, because Nigel E. Kelly does have the ability to go to the next level, and this could be the year that it happens. So make sure you guys check out the continuation of the 50-1 countdown series. And then we also have a story on the website analyzing the 3 most pivotal games on the Miami Hurricanes schedule. And it is never too early to start looking ahead to the season. It's coming up really, really fast. I know it seems you're probably thinking, oh, geez, it's only June. Well, we're getting ready to go into the second week of June. And in 2 months, they're going to be in training camp, and they're in off-season workouts right now. So this is actually a pretty critical time for a Canes football team that is trying to build steam and just simply be better in the fall. And, we'll be talking a lot about how many games they're going to win this week. And we're trying to take a look at some of that stuff, and you'll hear us talking about it this week. But whatever the result is going to be, whether it's 7 wins, 8 wins, maybe even 9 or more, you never say never. A lot of that is being shaped right now on campus with this team going through the off-season workouts and starting to build momentum for training camp. So you'll have a lot of coverage in that regard to look forward to. But we did try to isolate a few pivotal games in the schedule this year, and one of them was Texas A&M. And guys, that's a game that I think is everything right now to Miami, because it's the first real opponent. I mean, Miami, Ohio is going to be tougher than people think, and that's not going to be just the easiest layup in the world, probably. But Texas A&M is going to be the first real test of the season. It is going to be a 3:30 game on national TV. And, to me, guys, that's where we're going to know what this team is really all about. Azubi, why don't you take that and run with it?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, we kind of did our own previews of the regular season schedule. And my biggest thing was, I feel like if Miami comes out, I honestly feel like, I know obviously Florida State's a big game, Clemson's a big game. I think that Texas A&M game is the biggest game on the Hurricanes schedule this upcoming season. Like I was saying, I feel like if Miami starts off, wins that game, wins the Miami of Ohio game, the Temple game, the Bethune-Cookman game, and I forgot what games after that. If they start off 5-0, I feel like they can carry that momentum throughout the regular season and potentially win. I think they can win 9 games if they start out that 5-0 rank. Just keep the momentum going, keep the ball rolling with all that stuff. So I feel like that Texas A&M is going to be really, really big.
Yeah, it's going to be a tone setter. It's going to set the mood for everything else that happens after it. I mean, there's obviously going to be a lot. When you're playing FSU, Clemson, North Carolina, you're going to have big games scattered throughout the season. But I felt that losing that game at Texas A&M last year kind of set the tone for last season, and really the team never seemed to totally recover from that. I mean, it's kind of like when you work as hard as Mario asks them to work the whole off season, and then you show up in your first big game and you lose. That could be kind of tough. So it's going to be a huge game. It's going to be on national TV, and I think everyone's got a lot to look forward to there. So make sure you check out our look at that. We have a few more games, obviously, that we talk about in that feature. I don't want to give the whole thing away, but Texas A&M for sure will be a very important day. All right, that's going to do it for this morning for Good Morning CaneSport. I'm going to let these guys go back to sleep. If you like the show, like our YouTube channel, hit your subscribe button, hit your like button. Helps us with the algorithms at YouTube. More than anything, if you are not yet a subscriber at CaneSport.com, please join our community of fans. Enjoy our coverage on a daily basis. We work really, really hard at CaneSport.com, and we want to reach as many fans as possible. So for Azubi Charles and Stephen Wagner, whose eyes are slowly shutting down there at the bottom of the screen, I'm Gary Ferman. I'm wide awake. I don't sleep. Like you get a little older, like I do. Like you're lucky if you can sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. So I'm good, but I'm gonna let these guys go back to bed. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we'll see you next time, everybody.